And then the second step is going to be understanding your variables, because your variables are literally your algorithm or your formula for success. It's the architecture of your being. It's what's underneath the hood of your vehicle.
You're listening to Sensitive, Spiritual, and Successful, the podcast where we uncover ways to connect you back to your soul self and get you unstuck so that you can live out your full potential. I'm Jasmine Lynn, a former psychotherapist turned human design soul guide and EFT tapping success coach, and I'm here to show you how to love yourself through all your levels of growth. I know you're here because you have an impact you want to make in this world and you have a light to share, and I'm here to guide you through that journey because you deserve soul-aligned success.
Hi, everyone. This is Krystle, and I'm so excited to introduce you to her. Well, I'll get her to introduce herself. So, Krystle, can you go over your human design, and then we'll jump right in?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm super excited for this and also everything that you're doing. Amazing. I'm so on board. So, anywho, my name is Krystle, and I am a 1-3 sacral generator, vessel of love. What else should I say? I do human design, mostly human design, but I also tie in astrology and Kabbalah. I like to call myself a human design lifestyle mentor. Since I'm a vessel of love, my conscious sun is gate 10. And so it's living your best life. I know that can be kind of like cliche or cheesy, but literally that's what I do. I can't put myself in one box. I'm a Sagittarius sun, and I pretty much do it all. You want to, get the guy, get the girl, get the person, I can do it. You want to accelerate in your business, I can do it. I have the 4426. And if you're looking for personal growth, I can also do that because how honest can we be on here?
Very honest.
Okay, I just
go for it.
I used to hate myself. So I feel like, human design really saved my life. And yeah, so I can't put myself in one box. I do a lot of things.
I love it. I love the passion. You can just hear it in your voice too when you speak about human design. And I know we've chatted before, and it's just like, it just comes through when you are talking about human design, variables, all of the things. It's like, ooh, what's she talking about? Like, I need to hear about it. So yeah, I can definitely, I'm sure everyone else can hear how passionate you are as well.
I do get that a lot. So I do appreciate it because I feel like that's the generator signature. I know that it is, satisfaction, but there's a passion behind it because passion lives in the sacral. So if you're doing anything, especially with work related, career related, that you don't love, you can hear it in our voices. And I don't do anything that I don't love. I actually bought this, one of those little cliche pictures that's like live what you love. And I bought that before finding human design, but I feel like that's our motto, is living what we love. So if we can't do that, then we've missed the entire point of our human experience.
That is so well said. And I think a lot of generators have gone through, or maybe are going through, or want to go through that experience of living that signature and like waking up every day. I know for me, planning this summit, I have to peel myself away from my work. Like, it's like, I'm so excited. I can't wait to do something else, even though it's like, not saying it's all easy breezy, but it's a fun challenge and you just keep going through it. So yeah, definitely that generator. It's like when you master your work or you find something that really lights you up, it's like those motors, like that energy inside of you is like going.
Sacral in the heart. When you said that, you can't peel yourself away. I have this variable intensive, as you know, that I do, and we just started it. And I told everybody on the first call, I'm like, I just want to let you know, I try to show up at least twice a week, and that's about the times I'll be showing up. I'm showing up every day.
Yeah.
And I said, it's because you guys are showing up with such vigor and momentum that I can't stop responding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel you.
Yeah, it's definitely it. So this episode, I really want I want everyone listening to this to get to know Krystle. Let's dive in a little bit more to, what's going on. So the first question is, what is currently lighting you up, or what are you currently working on?
Ooh, that is a loaded question. And I'm like, how do I fully respond to it? Well, the first thing would probably be what I was just talking about, which is my variable intensive. It's something that I run twice a year. And it's something that I developed. This is our third round. So, but I've been working on it in stages. You know what I mean? Like, I started it as a membership for a second, and then I realized no, it needs to be condensed with my defined heart. And so I am just so lit up by the people in this group, literally called in to a T. This is the first time I've gotten every single person that I exactly wanted, and I'm just so excited about that. But I'm also excited about something small. Tomorrow I'm going to take this like meditative yoga class. I'm not even 100% sure what I honestly signed up for, but I've been wanting to get back out there into like the community, and I felt like what better time to do that than like around Mother's Day when I need to be taking care of myself. So that's another thing I'm lit up about. That's something that's small.
Yay. So Krystle's obviously also a mom of two.
Mm-hmm, too.
Yes. Yes. So she's busy. You can imagine. um, okay. Next question for you, Krystle. What inspires you or motivates you the most?
Mhm. These are really
Really
like
too deep?
not like there's just so many things. I have a wide open head. So you just asked uneven. I mean, how much time do we have? Because
20 minutes. 20 minutes.
yeah, I have an open throat too. So you just asked me two really open ended questions because I'm inspired by, like I say, I have gate 25 also, and I feel like that's the interconnection between everything. And I'm like, I could be inspired by like a blade of grass, you know? So you're asking me a question that I'm like, everything inspires me. Um, and I'm self-motivated. So as a defined heart, I don't know if you feel the same way as a defined heart, but I I don't need outside forces to motivate me. They can pressure me. I have an undefined root, but I don't need any motivation from the outside world. So um I am inspired though. What am I most inspired about right now? I feel like I'm very inspired right now by my oldest son who is a manifester, and I've been watching him just blossom. He's also innocence motivation, and I like to say that our innocence motivation is almost like the beautiful blossomed flower. They're already perfect. And we all are in a way, but there's something about innocence people that they really, there's a sweetness to them. There's this essence, like innocence, like a child. And he is a child. So it's like being able to watch him expand. He also is ego defined. He has the money line. And I feel like there's a lot of confusion about defined egos where people think that we're like, super egoic and like boastful and like fiery and ragey. And I'm like, that's not really, I'm like, I don't know what the other open hearts see through us, but that's not really how we operate at our core. I'm like, I don't know what you're looking at, but that's not how I operate. But my little manifester, and I think it's also with being ego authority, there is a buildup of your self-worth that comes in a lifetime. That's like one of your missions. I realize I attract a lot of ego manifestors because they see that I talk about my little ego manifestor, like, oh, you must know a lot because you're raising one. I'm like, I know enough, I guess, but I don't know how much I know, and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I feel like as a 1-3, I'm forever learning though. But so I've been inspired about his blossoming. I feel like that's, I don't know, maybe this is like a Mother's Day. And maybe I just have that on my mind. I don't know, but I always have my kids on my mind. I mean, you probably do too. I mean,
All
you
the
have the channel of community. It's literally the channel of family. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm very, and I feel like, manifestors, they initiate us generators in a way that like nobody else can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he's initiating me to really grow right now in exponential ways, I would say.
Mm, that's beautiful. children can do that to you, you know, when you're like open to it and you can kind of see their behaviors and what they're reflecting back. It's like they are, you know, I'll always say they are our greatest teachers in
Mhm,
life.
mhm, mhm. I 150% agree.
Okay. How did you get into human design, or how did human design find you?
Oh, this is a story. So I'm gonna try my very best to condense it, which you're asking a lot. But I'm gonna get it's a challenge. Whenever you people give me timelines, I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. Okay. So I first start out with, I guess, my career. I did hair and makeup professionally for 13 years. But today is actually, weirdly enough, the anniversary of my 14-year near death experience. That is what led me to human design. Now, I won't get into all of the details on that, but I'll say that is what led me to have to take, I called it a spiritual pause because I accidentally, and I said this before, I was like, I'm going to take a little spiritual pause, just like a moment. And I feel like generators, we don't allow ourselves to pause enough. During this time, I didn't know what it meant to be a generator, but looking back, I see how much I really needed it. And so I was like, okay, we're going to stop doing hair and makeup for a while because it's physically hurting me. You know what I mean? Because there was injuries. So I'm like, you know what? I've done office work before. I'm going to just apply on Craigslist. You know, earlier like 2010s ish. People were still. I don't know if you guys have Craigslist where you are, but or you've heard of Craigslist?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Heard of it? Okay. It's a really weird place to find a job, and it's probably a job you don't want. But for whatever reason,
You did it.
I did it. And so it everything they had listed, I'm like, okay, I can do all these things. I'm gonna apply. And so I get a phone call the next day from this woman, and she's like, hi, this is the Kabbalah Center. You applied for a job. And I was like, what? I was like, the Kabbalah Center. I was like, I did not. Did I apply to the Kabbalah Center? And I'm like thinking about, like, it just showed the location, but I didn't know the name of the company. And I was like, oh shit, I applied to the Kabbalah Center. And I was like, okay. She's like, do you want to come in for an interview? And I was like, what do I got to lose? I'm like, I can't do my career right now. I got nothing to lose. So I went in. I'll tell you, the moment that I walked into this place, and this is the only center that they had built specifically for Kabbalah. They had just bought other buildings, like they have them all around the world. Maybe you've heard of it, but we'll get to the point of why in a second, why I found human design. But I step into the building, and all of a sudden, I felt this almost like energy take over my being, and it was just pure love. And I heard a little voice that said, you're home. And I was like, shit, I better get this fucking job. So I get
The
the
human
job.
part of you. Yeah.
I end up getting the job. I end up working there for 3.5 years. Now, every moment that I stepped, every day I stepped into that place, I had no idea what I was doing there. I'm like, I need to go back to doing hair. And I was sort of doing it still part-time on the side, but I obviously, it wasn't my full career at the moment. And I was like, maybe I should just go back doing that full time. But nope, something kept pulling me back there. I have a defined G center. I'm a vessel of love. I'm like, there's a reason why I'm here. And so after I had my first son, who's the manifestor that I was just talking about, I decided that I wanted to go back to doing hair and makeup part-time, but on the weekends, and do weddings so I can make what I make in a week and a day. I was like, let's do this right to find heart. At the time, I still didn't know about human design, but I left. I went back to doing hair and makeup part-time so I could be home with my son full-time. And it was in the car. I was actually driving with him. I'll never forget this day. I was driving with him. I was driving to my mom's house. I popped on a podcast, and all of a sudden the person goes, yeah, I do this thing called human design. It incorporates the Kabbalah tree of life. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, what was that? What did you just say? And all of a sudden this visceral feeling took over my body again. And I had to pull over because I was crying. I was like, and I heard, this is why you were there. This is why you were at the Kabbalah Center. And so, of course, as the pure 1-3 that I am, I deep dove. I was like, okay, I got the foundation of the tree of life because I worked there. I took classes there. I knew the tree of life like the back of my hand. I was like, okay, all we need is the rest of the information. I was like, I don't know why I need this, but I need it. So I took every class, every course I could find. And I learned about 2027. If you don't know about 2027, you can come to me and I'll tell you. Um, that would be a much longer conversation. But I knew something was coming in 2020, but I didn't know exactly what it would be, obviously. And when the day the world shut down, I said, okay, um, it's time to close my hair and makeup business. I'm like, and I heard a little voice, it's time to come online. I was like, what the hell does that mean? And I found myself going to Instagram. I hadn't been on Instagram in forever. I made an account and it took me 3 weeks to make my first post. And then I just started sharing about human design, and people then started asking for readings. And here we are, I guess. I made it into 2 businesses, I guess I should say, because I still do readings and speaking events. And then I also have a business partner for the Human Design and Astro Club. And we also have a podcast, a YouTube channel, classes. We have our variable intensive that I was just talking about. So it obviously expanded. And that's my story, I guess, in a long nutshell. Could have been longer, though. I'm going to tell you, it could have been much longer.
I love it could have been much longer. I love, the synchronicities and everything. Well, looking back, it all makes sense. But when you're living it, you're like, what is this? What's happening? But it's funny that you always talked about it felt right. In the body, it felt right. Although your mind was like, what's going on here? Why am I here? Asking all those questions. But inside you're like, I got to stick this, or like, I got to stick it out. This is what there's a reason why I'm here, and I'm probably going to find out. And you did.
Yeah. There's something, I don't know if you have an undefined G center, right?
Undefined. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. There's something about the defined G centers that I've known that we ask similar questions that you guys ask, like, who am I? I feel like that was more when I was younger. I used to ask that question a lot, but like I ask a lot of times, why am I here? And most of my gates in my G center are love gates because I'm a vessel of love. And then I only have the 13, which is the only direction gate that I have. So I honestly never know where I'm going. Love is carrying me through the way. And it's trust. I feel like for you guys, it's a lot of distrust and questioning that could often happen with the undefined G center, where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here or where I'm going, but I feel like I'm supposed to be here. There's just that I feel like there's a little string that pulls me along my fractal. I don't know how to explain it in a different way.
Does it connect to your sacral?
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of my sacral channels. I have 2, the 1015, the 515 and the 1034. The channel of rhythm. And I have to feel it in my heart too. They both need to be saying yes. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand how each sacral gate and channel works because they're all so different. Just because we're generators, like what are your sacral channels?
952. I have that channel.
So a format channel.
Yeah, I have the format channel. What other sacral channels do I have? The 27.
5027?
Well, not the channel. Hanging gate 27.
Oh, okay.
My husband has the 50. We connect it for each other. Yeah.
I actually create the entire defense circuit with my husband. He has all the gates except for the 59, and then I have the 59.
So, my husband and I have that too. Well, he has the 59.6. I have the 27. He has the 50. So
there's something about when you guys are locked in together with that defense circuit, it's like, I'm going to take care of you. There's just something about that. There's magic there.
Yeah, we're like a very homey family, like always doing everything together, homeschool, just hanging out all the time. So definitely cared for.
Yeah, the penta becomes really strong, I think, when that defense circuit is defined.
And my kids have the 1933. They both have it in their top 4 gates. So my daughter has the 1933 and I complete the 19,
You mean
I
the
think it's 49.
1949?
I have the 49. Both my kids have the 19.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're very sensitive, just that sensitive nature.
I call that channel the 1949, the Crybaby channel. I have yet to be wrong. I have not met somebody that does not cry a lot with that channel. And if they say, I have had people say, well, I haven't cried in a long time. And I'm like, did you cry a lot when you were younger? And they'll tell me yes. I was like, you need to cry. Everybody that has the channel of sensitivity needs to be crying, like daily or weekly.
Yeah, just to let it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful. We'll keep going because I really want people to obviously get to know you more.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to stop asking you questions.
It's too fun talking to you. That's the problem. And like now we're on because of me, this is my fault that we're on a time constraint.
It's
well,
okay. It's okay.
My internet's fault, but
we're here. More questions though, so we can keep the time.
Yes. Okay. So I will just say, how has human design, this might be a big one. Sorry, Krystle. How has human design changed the relationship you have with yourself?
Oh.
I got the gate 48. The depth. I'm sorry. I'm saying
you have the 48?
I have the 1648.
Oh boy, it just went into the notes today too. That just went into the notes today. The 2148 the new notes just started today. Sorry, I'm a transit junkie. Okay. What was the full question one more time?
How has human design changed the relationship you have with yourself?
I mean, entirely. Like a complete reverse of how I saw myself 7 years ago. I just entered into 7 years of my experiment, as we call in human design. And I was actually just watching, because I shared in my stories earlier to my community that about my near-death experience, and I had posted a live that I did. And so I watched 5 seconds of it to post it. The sound of my voice is not even the sound of my voice that it was 2 years ago. I don't recognize that person anymore. I don't even recognize who I was 2 years ago, yet alone 7 years ago, or even when I was, further than that. I feel like that's the biggest thing with humans, is the potential to transform. Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel like human design has gifted me, a chance to be everything that I am. Not everything that I thought I needed to be. And I think that's what I really felt like I had to be. I feel like because we are the entire body graph, right? When people are like, oh, I only have this. No, you actually have everything, but you might only have this consistently activated for you to show up as. I like to say where we are defined is what we are here to be, and where we are open is what we're here to see. Mm-hmm. I come up with catchphrases. My 4426. I have to transmit. I have to make this easy and digestible for people. So little catchphrases give an understanding of self without having to overcomplicate it up here. Mm-hmm. I feel like we overcomplicate up here. So it allowed me to love myself at the deepest level that I never even thought was possible. And I, even through, like, I've been going through some hard things lately, and I feel strong. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I think of, if I was faced with some of these things lately that I was like, even a few years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do this podcast. I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of things right now. And I can keep going. It gives me the understanding that, because I can see, I like to say that there's 3 pillars of success with human design. The first is going to be your strategy and authority, knowing your type. Okay, that's one that all comes together. And then the second step is going to be understanding your variables, because your variables are literally your algorithm or your formula for success. It's the architecture of your being. It's what's underneath the hood of your vehicle. And if you understand the mechanics of that, because that's what the body graph is, right? It's just a roadmap, right? It says when you do, and it's a logical one, right? Because it says when you do this, this will happen. When you do this, this will happen. Especially as a generator, it's nice to understand how to be consistent, because that's all we want. That's all we want. I remember when I first started doing this human design business, and I was like, what's the number one thing that I want? And I just kept saying consistency. That's it. I just want consistency and sustainability. If we can have those two things as generators, I mean, we're gold. All the other types are like, gosh, I don't want to do that at all. That's fine. I'll do it for you. Don't worry. You know? And so then after you understand your strategy and authority as your type, okay? You understand your variables, then understanding the transits. That's the third one that I would say we're still behind on, which is fine because most people are just being introduced to human design right now. You are where you are. There's no wrong or right. That's what I love about human design too. It just is. So wherever you are right now on your human design journey is the exact place you need to be. Yeah. But once you get those first two, and they don't all have to fit in the same order either, okay? And you could be working on all of them at the same time. It really depends on your design, on how you're going to fit those pieces in. But those are the 3 pillars of success. If you can get those 3 and you understand them, how they work and show up in your world, because the transits show you the roadmap to success in the now. In the now. What is happening right now so I can surrender to it? Oh, you're telling me, things are about to get really fucked up. Like when we just had the last nodes were my bridge gates. Okay. So like gate 51, I mean, you have gate 51, is a gate of shock. It's explosive. It's for me, as that's one of my bridge gates. It's like every time I stick my hand in a light socket, I'll get a little shocked, and then it throws me on a new direction. Tracks my heart back on the right path. So there's been a lot of shock lately, and I'm just like, I'm done with this. But at the same time, because I saw it coming, I'm like, I don't know. You might not know exactly what it is. Again, it's telling you about the now. It'll show you glimpses of the future for when you I build my business around the transits. Right. All of my launches are based off the transits. All of my classes are based off the transits, because if you want to remove roadblocks, then you need to know where they are, when they're coming, and when to surrender. And when do you have an opening? I like to say, when are you getting thrown the baton? Because right now I've been thrown the baton and I'm running, and I know that especially as a generator, we eventually, we still have to rest. And so eventually I'm probably going to trip over a rock or something because I'm a 3rd line body, and then I'm going to have to take a rest.
Yes. So what I'm hearing through your answer there is that it has given you strength, self-love, resilience, and the power to continue no matter what. And I just want everyone to know that Krystle is going to be presenting on variables at the summit. So definitely sign up, because this is something people always ask me about, but I don't do the variables. I just do the basics, the foundational stuff, and then kind of getting into the healing of how to actually align to being able to use your strategy and authority, which we know you need to connect to your body, nervous system regulation, all those things. So variables, you don't want to miss it with Krystle. You're probably like, I'm going to go run to Krystle's page and learn about the transits and hear what's going on. Because do you do monthly transits? Is it monthly that you do a chant? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's monthly, and it's with human design astrology. And then also my business partner, Leah, who's a projector, she does tarot at the end and always ties in the message from the beginning of the month. And then I also do like little meditations through the astrology as well. I learned Kabbalistic astrology working at the Kabbalah Center, and I do love Western astrology too. So I kind of combine it all together. And if you want to learn how to be successful for the month, then I would say our podcast can help you with that. And I do little quick energy updates weekly too over on my Instagram as well, to kind of because everybody learns differently. And also I think repetition is really helpful. So getting the full picture with the podcast, but then following along weekly of how is this actually going to go. And then you also get to learn. That's how I've really been able to understand how the gates and channels actually work, because you get to watch it in real time.
Yes. Yeah, you get to watch it. That's what I was talking about. I was thinking about, is it weekly that you do the chair spin? The
Oh my
chair spin.
gosh. You don't really like that for some reason, but it's like that's what I imagine is happening in my head. Like we're just spinning on the mandala wheel. So yeah, thank
It's
you.
fun. It's really fun. Like when I watch it, I'm like, oh, here she goes. Let's go.
We're spinning again, guys. The wheel is turning. These are the wheels of our life, like kind of
Yeah.
like days of our lives, but it's
Okay. I'm going to ask you, what is a piece of advice you have for coaches and practitioners who are building their business? What's one, I guess one piece of advice.
I would say the transits. I would go
Okay.
right back to that because I'll tell you, when we first started, I didn't realize I knew the transits were important because I learned about new moons, which most people really connect to full moons, but the new moons is where we plant the seeds to manifest or materialize, or I like to say as generators, we generate. And so it sounds better to me to say that. And so I would say looking at the transits to see, like, and you don't have to be as crazy as I am. I get very crazy. I have 3 different programs that I use, and I have it even programmed into my calendar. So
It's commitment.
it's a commitment.
It's 1-3. It's a
Serious.
1-3 thing. Yeah.
But also there'll be times that I won't look at it for a couple of days just to live, and then I'll go back and I'll see all the things that happened. So I like to play both ends. I have gate 15, so I like to see the extremes. So I would say though, when we first started, I had no idea what I was doing. Okay. And so I'm just like, oh, this is a good idea that I have. I want to make it into a class. I'm a very creative person. I also taught hair cosmetology for a while. That's actually when I learned that I was actually a good teacher. It was after my accident. I did that for a moment. That's why I said at the beginning of the conversation, I really reduced it because there was a lot of small details that kind of led up to this. But I realized that just going off just my sacral, again, back to the 3 pillars, it's important. But if you want to be successful, then you add the transits into the time frame. At least go to the start loose, be like, okay, I have this class I want, for example, I have this class I want to teach, or I have this program that I want to start if you're a coach, and I want to do it in June. Okay. First of all, I'll tell you, doing things when you don't have cardinal energy, unless you want to do a Cancer. Cancer is a cardinal sign. But certain things with cardinal energy gives you the leg up that you need, especially as like a generator or maybe even a reflector or a projector. Manifestors, we can't they don't we can't put them in a box. Okay. I'm not necessarily talking to you, but we can have a conversation about that another time if you want, manifestors, because I work with a lot. But I would say looking at the transits, looking at the time frame, looking at the astrology. Okay. So again, I just said cardinal energy. I run my programs in spring and in the fall. Okay. So I start my uh registration during Aries season because I know that that's going to give me some momentum. And then for the fall, it's Libra. Okay. So looking at that. And then, okay, looking at the day that you want to start, then you're going to want to pull up the human design chart. And for that day, the transits for that day, how is that one? Is there emotional energy there? Because if you got emotional energy, then you're going to go through some cycle, okay, and it might be a little bit slower. So maybe you don't want to do it during unless you're emotional. Then there could be a benefit there. There's a lot of ins and outs. There's a lot of different ways you can interpret this. Looking how it hooks up to you. Let's say you're a projector. Start something during a time where you get some sacral energy. Okay,
Right.
that that'll give you that little momentum, that little extra motor that can carry you.
Mm.
And then you can kind of prepare the body before that. Okay, so I'm going into some sacral energy because that's also a lot for a non-sacral to go into that. There's many different ways to work with this, but I would say transits, I mean, that's what honestly has grown my business. I mean, completely honest.
Yes. Okay. So everybody, follow the transits, learn from Krystle, because when she talks about transits, it's fun to follow along. You'll watch the whole thing. It's not like la 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 la. It's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, this is exciting. Because this is the first time I've really followed anybody who has gone through the transit. So I know watching your content, as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this is exciting. This is fun. Okay. I don't know. I think it's just the teacher in you and the expertise that you have and just the knowledge that when you're speaking, it's like people need to be listening because like you're going to drop some good stuff.
Thank you. It makes sense that you're doing this summit also during the time that the nodes shifted into parts of your chart.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where you have the 48, but the 48, I believe, just went into this.
Jupiter 48 is my conscious and unconscious Jupiter. Yeah.
Oh, I just went on. I have a lot of thoughts.
Okay.
This is this is this is potentially very big for you. Potentially. I mean, that's the thing with the transits. I want to preface that it's only showing you the potential.
Mm.
It's up to you to take the action. You have to take the action saying, okay, I know that every time that I go into Taurus season, because my North Node's in Taurus, that I have a chance to really quantum leap. So I know that that's going to be a time for me to take action during Taurus season. It's these like little tiny things that you would never think of that once you start applying them, you see the results. Then it says, okay, when it gives you a roadmap. It's saying this is the potential that could happen, but it'll be up for you to take action. And also, are you in the right environment?
Yes. And are you in the right environment is such a big one. I think, well, with my undefined G center, the belongingness and everything, everyone that I've connected with, this is already bigger than I ever expected it to be. Like I look at my husband, I'm like, look who I'm speaking to, look who I get to connect with. Like this is probably the most insane thing. And it's like I've never ran a summit before, but here I am doing it and I'm so passionate about it. And I think it's the energy behind it, but also like, yeah, there's like definitely something pushing this because it's wild right now.
It's weird how response works when it comes, and then all of a sudden you just get to kind of enjoy it. When it's just all response, you just get to enjoy each little step because the mind is not involved.
That's right. My emotions, I'm defined emotionally though. So I'm like, oh, I love it. It's so good. And I'm like, oh, it's going to suck so bad. But yeah, I see it. It's like the drama in my head and my emotions. And like last night, I'm like, oh no, it's going to suck. And then I move through it. I observe it. And then I'm like, nope, back at it.
You don't need to touch. Like that's like the biggest thing I tell emotionals. I'm a non-emotional. So I watch you guys just attach to one part of the wave. And I'm like, tell me how you feel tomorrow or tonight. Probably different tonight too.
That's right. That 100% true. Yes. Okay, Krystle, I know I'm trying to be mindful of like our time,
Yeah, it's okay.
your time. So I guess the one I asked you what piece of advice you have for coaches, transits, and just very quickly, and like if you have one line, what do you hope those you teach or work with could better understand about you?
Understand about me?
Yeah.
Oh.
You as a person, yeah.
Usually understand them. Understand about me. I do things with human design that nobody else does. I can't explain it. It's what people tell me. And I get to learn about myself through how people experience me. And I combine these very detailed, intricate layers of self, especially when I incorporate Kabbalah with it, because there's this little place that's connected to your personality nodes, okay, in your view, in your variables, that's called tikkun, and it means correction. And it's what you're here to correct this life. And I can see how to tie it into your astrology, your human design, and then taking that deep spiritual Kabbalistic layer to it and then tying it all together. So I do things that nobody else can do. Is what I would probably say.
Yes. Okay. Well, where can everybody find you? Where can everybody connect with you?
So the place that you can get to start and get everything would probably be my Instagram, which is journey through, the way you spell through, THROUGH, and then also another H and then D. So Journey Through HD. I know it's kind of a weird one, but anyways, that's what that's what I came up with, and that's what I'm sticking with. So go there. You can see my link tree there, or you can go to you can also go to humandesignastro.com. That's humandesignastro.com. And that's also the other part of my business that I do classes, I do workshops, we have a la carte classes, we have guidebooks, we have, I realized the other day how much we built. I feel like as generators, sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for how much we've built. So I also have a lot of freebies. So you can check that out at humandesignastro.com. And then our podcast is Human Design and Astro Club. And we're on YouTube, which we're trying to build that because we started also as a podcast. So wherever you get your podcast or YouTube, that's where we are.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Krystle. And I am so happy that everyone gets to know you and connect with you, and also join the summit and learn about the variables from Krystle herself.
And that's it for today's episode. Please share it with anyone else who wants to learn more about human design, or anyone who may be on their personal growth and spiritual development journey. You can DM me on Instagram to talk about what resonated with you, what you learned about yourself. I love hearing about human design in real life, so I really appreciate those conversations. And if you would like, you can leave a comment, a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. That support means the world. Thank you so much for listening. I know time is a valuable currency. Take care.